An often misunderstood element of spiritual gifts is that the gifts do not come fully formed. Not usually, at least. In other words, just because you took a spiritual gifts assessment that revealed that you have a teaching gift doesn't necessarily mean that you should teach in the Meck Institute next week, okay? Spiritual gifts are special abilities that have the potential to be supernaturally effective if, and that's the key word, if we develop them. But sadly, too many of us don't ever develop our gifts because, quite frankly, it takes a lot of work and courage. But it's such a shame when we let our fears cripple the plans that God has for us. So don't let that be your story. Start putting your gift into action by taking baby steps towards strengthening it and utilizing it. But what does that look like practically? Well, let's say you have the spiritual gift of wisdom. That gift, the ability to apply biblical truth to the everyday situations of life, can be used in so many places throughout the church and in this world. But that requires that you study the wisdom of the Bible and that you grow in your love and your compassion for the world. Otherwise, you might compromise biblical teaching, even if you are sincere, or deliver biblical truth with a calloused heart. So, your next step might be to go to the wisdom books of the Bible, books like Proverbs and Psalms and Job and Ecclesiastes, and then start praying for specific people or situations that you hope to bring God's truth to. Or let's say you have the spiritual gift of hospitality. Well, maybe hosting a raucous party next week isn't the best next step for you, okay? Instead, your next step might be to plan a small but intentional gathering of people. You'd want to commit to praying for these people and thinking about ways in which you can cultivate an environment that makes them feel welcomed and seen and known. See how this works? You know, when it comes to this dance that we perform with God, and this applies to our spiritual gifts as well, whenever we're bold enough to give even a little in faith, God responds with a lot. Let's look again at Paul's words to a young man he mentored, Timothy. He said to Timothy, "Do not neglect the spiritual gift you received through the prophecy spoken over you when the elders of the church laid their hands on you. Give your complete attention to these matters. Throw yourself into your tasks so that everyone will see your progress." What would it look like for you to give your complete attention to your spiritual gifts and to throw yourself into their development? I love how even our progress can draw attention to God's work in us. In other words, it's not only when our gifts become fully formed that they start becoming effective. No, it's also by our faithfulness during that journey that God's work is displayed.